We weren't allowed to tell the truth before because Facebook was a part of the big lie, and they censored anybody who tried to get the truth out about this case early on, because they were a part of trying to get out this narrative of white supremacy and domestic terrorism when this case has everything to do with all white people. But now that the verdict is in, we can now share the truth about what we have known to be true about these people who pursued Kyle Rittenhouse that night. First and foremost, I want you guys to know that Joseph Rosenbaum was charged with 11 counts of child molestation. I'm going to read it exactly, because we know Facebook fact checkers will very quickly try to defend a pedophile. 11 counts of child molestation and inappropriate sexual activity around children, including anal rape and oral sex. The victims, Joseph Rosenbaum's victims, were 5 boys, and the boys were between the ages of 9 and 11 years old. And you guys know he went to prison for 12 years for this, but I want to take you through each and every count. Please, I know it's hard to get through, it's hard to stomach. There are 11 counts, but you need to know. You need to know and you need to hear this, because I want you to correctly assess the people right now who have been defending Joseph Rosenbaum and who have been trying to delude you into believing that this man is a hero who was out trying to defend Black lives. Joseph Rosenbaum, the first count, there are 11. The first count was for public sexual indecency to a minor. Committing an act of sexual contact by masturbating while the minor was present. The second count was for penetrating a minor, penetrating the victim's anus with his penis. The third count was for advertising and distributing an item of harm that was harmful to minors, which were photographs of nude women, including their genitals. Count 4 was committing an act of sexual contact by masturbating while a minor was present. Count 5 was knowingly engaging in an act of sexual intercourse with a minor. Again, these minors were between the ages of 9 and 11 years old, by penetrating the victim's anus with his penis. Count 6 was engaging in an act of oral sexual contact with a minor by inserting his penis into the victim's mouth. Again, they were between the ages of 9 and 11. Count 7 was knowingly engaging in an act of oral sexual contact with a minor under the age by placing his mouth on the victim's penis. Count 8 was engaging in sexual contact with a child involving the genitals by touching the victim's penis with his hand. Count 9 was engaging in sexual contact with the child involving the genitals by causing the victim to touch his penis. Count 10, don't worry, we're almost done, there's only 2. Again, this is important for you to hear. Count 10 was engaging in sexual contact with a child under age involving the genitals by touching the victim's penis with his finger. And count 11, the last count, was indecently exposing his genitals to a minor under the age by showing the victim his penis. So those are the 11 accounts that he was charged with. He copped a plea, so he had to plead to lesser charges. They were amended in the plea deal, and he was convicted of the amended counts, and that is why he spent 12 years in prison. Knowing this information, and many of you may not have known that information and may have been getting piecemeal things online because so much of it was censored, I want you to really think about the evil of the mainstream media, that a convicted pedophile, quite literally, Joseph Rosenbaum was the aggressor, chased another child, which, by the way, he legally was not even allowed to be around any person under the age of 18 years old. He chased another child, used the N-word, so used racial slurs as he was chasing this child, Kyle Rittenhouse, and yet somehow the media wanted you to believe that this convicted pedophile who was using racial slurs, Black racial slurs, was on the side of Black lives, as if he was really out there because he cared about Black lives, as if any person who cares about Black lives and racial justice would be out using the N-word and chasing children. It doesn't make any sense. Of course, it was a big lie, another big media lie, and they worked in coordination with big tech to make sure that this lie lived, and you had celebrities endorsing this lie. And it takes a lot of evil to make a concerted effort to turn a pedophile of the most despicable order. I mean, I could spit thinking about this man, into a hero. It takes a certain kind of stomach to plaster that man's face onto a poster and to stand outside hoping that an innocent child spends the rest of his life in prison. It takes a a special kind of despicable individual to use social media in the vein that LeBron James did to paint that innocent child being Kyle Rittenhouse as a monster who's faking his tears, who was obviously absolutely terrified that night. I can't even imagine just having a pedophile chase you, period. Absolutely terrified that night and rightfully dislodged his weapon in self-defense.